And we are live on YouTube. Welcome.
Divine Creator, we ask that the light of highest awareness fill the minds and hearts of those who are open to your light. We ask that they be assisted and strengthened in their resolve to achieve peace using peaceful means. May their minds, their hearts, and their actions reflect the divine will to good for all. Comfort, strengthen, and support those who are in a difficult situation in their mind, body, or spirit. Bring confidence to them that your divine hand is at work in their life. Amen.
Well, good evening and welcome. My name is Reverend Mary Huber, pastor of CCWH, which stands for the Community Chapel of Holistic Healing. We are a non-denominational spiritual fellowship founded in 1977 by Reverend Michelle Luson, who is a mystic and a channel for the multidimensional consciousness that exists in the universe. She had an apparition of Swami Sivananda quite a few years ago in which he asked her to start this organization and placed in the Washington, D.C. area so it would be a light for the nation's capital. We are here to aid in personal and global spiritual transformation. CCWH has chapel services twice a month, and it is the schedule is on our website at ccwh.com. You can find it there. And you can find some other resources as well. You can go and submit somebody for our prayer list if you choose, and upcoming some of our programs that we will have. In the meantime, I believe the people who are on Zoom are already on mute, so thank you for that. And as we always do, we start off with the saying of the three healers with the affirmations of faith, hope, and charity. We call them the three healers because when they were channeled in from spirit, we were told that they aligned all of the systems in the body. I believe in the spiritual existence of myself as a perfect image of the divine creator. In this reflection that is my physical embodiment, I have faith in the supreme guidance of my soul for my balance, my needs, and my opportunities. Outside of myself, there are also perfect images, and nothing can delude my thinking otherwise. The hope affirmation, acknowledging my faith in the omnipresence of my divinity. I hope for realization, awareness, and acknowledgement of the existence of the great I am within myself. Charity affirmation. In understanding faith, in knowing hope, I pledge my actions, my desires, and my thoughts to the performances of myself on the physical planes of the earth to honor, to love, and to enlighten all that is a reflection of the divine outside myself, so that my perfection is imaged back to my Creator. So help me God. Well, this evening, our topic is faith, hope, and charity. And I felt it would be really good to bring that concept out of these three affirmations, what's behind them, because it is so very important. Everything that exists on the planet, whether it's yourself personally or anything else that's going on around you or outside of you, there are higher dimensions that go with that, higher laws that are involved. And we here use the expression as above, so below. It's an ancient expression. And if we are in the flow with the energy above us that's coming in to show us what is the right perfection of that energy that we're trying to demonstrate here, then everything is in order and everything is good. But when we're out of alignment with that higher dimension, then we have distortions and problems. The talk tonight is really about higher and lower balance as much as anything else. I'm sorry, I just admitted somebody. You notice that we start off with affirmations of faith, hope, and charity, and there is a statement made that these are the very elements which balance the systems of our body. If someone just studied, if anyone studies these three principles, faith, hope, and charity, they are involved in actually and embedded in everything that we do. These are actually more than concepts, they're facts. They are higher dimensional realities. And then if we all did that, then the advance of our spiritual self would be assured and the living of life on earth so much more enjoyable. So, but these three, and I have been looking at this for a long time, they're actually codependent and interrelated in ways that are not necessarily obvious to everyone. But before we go there, I want to remind those who follow this chapel of the higher, lower balance of our natures, of our being, and reminding everyone again that we are pure spirit inhabiting a physical form. Therefore, we have two natures, spiritual and physical. And these are so interconnected and related that they are fused as one until the time of our death, when we just let go of the physical form and resume our life in spirit. And the key here is to always remember that. That would help this life on earth. The balance that needs to occur between these two systems, by the way, is always in play. It's very important that they do balance. That's also another version of higher, lower balance, the higher dimension of the spirit with the lower dimension of the physical. Now, here is where the attention to faith, hope, and charity comes in. And it will create balance between these two systems of self when understood. The affirmations are directed to balance the higher spiritual system and have embedded in them the understanding of it's embedded in them as to what we should be doing at any particular time. And let's start with the faith affirmation as an example. So when we start with, I believe in the spiritual existence of myself as a perfect image of the divine creator. Just that one sentence is so important. Were each of us to understand the true meaning of that, perfect faith would result. People get into trouble when they lose faith in themselves or anything, but actually particularly themselves. This affirmation is a powerful acknowledgement of the fact that we are created in the image and likeness of God. Now, too many times we hear this given to us in our past, in our lives, when we have gone to various church services, and we can't acknowledge it generally. It certainly has been said very often, and we go on believing that we have got it. But many times we really didn't understand it. To really get it, you would acknowledge your complete dependence on God and have confidence in yourself that you are guided throughout your life by the loving Creator who wants nothing more than your success in life. Our day-to-day life is filled with such minutia that distracts us and diverts our attention away from this very fact. However, if we really see it, God actually is also in the minutia. And even there, God will come through when we find that we can trust and believe completely of our guidance and where we have come from. This will take some effort on the part of everyone to stay in tune with God by prayer and meditation and positive words and positive images. Now, here we've been speaking of the spiritual mental aspect of self because the mental belongs in that system. But everything above does connect to everything below. In fact, there is a psychology of the spirit involved in every single solitary function of this physical body. So just if we look at the lower form, the physical body, where does this mainly occur? Well, there are three great areas of the body where faith, hope, and charity are exhibited. These are the thyroid, the adrenal, and the pancreas areas, mostly related to the chakras, but because the chakra and the glands very often, because they're in the same vicinity, are governed by that chakra, you will see the systems being involved in the physical as well. I'll start with the connection between faith and the thyroid. The thyroid is a major regulator for the body. And in esoteric understanding, it is also the center of the will. This is where the chakra, our choices are made here. And the greatest choice always, do we believe in the spiritual existence of ourselves as a perfect image of the God creator? That's a choice. Can we believe that? This is something that we need to believe and go with. This is where we need to line up with it. And when we do acknowledge and act on it, then we are at one with God's will. And we are in love with God because we trust God. Love, to truly love is also to truly trust. And therefore we trust God in all aspects of our life. When we can align like that and then be in the will of God, we will know how to act and when to act. And we say this because we are being prompted from within to act only in line with what a God-centered action would be, what God would want us to be doing. So when we're making choices against God's will, the thyroid and all the systems that regulate, that this center regulates, are affected in the physical body, because that's a misalignment, which will, as above, so below. If there's a misalignment above, you will have a problem below. And these areas that governed by the thyroid are many in the body, and will create great disturbances in various parts of the body and even diseases. So when this throat chakra is off kilter and our choices are not the best for ourselves and those around us, we lack love. And Michelle tells us that love is the great balancer of the thyroid chakra and all that the chakra controls. You know, from the esoteric viewpoint, the key phrase for the throat chakra is, I control. When this center is out of balance, the individual often goes off into their own world of control. And we know things are off. I mean, I think most people we'll get that inkling because our life isn't working for us. When we're making bad choices through this center, the life isn't really going well. And people don't sometimes know what to do. And sometimes start grasping to do something to get the life back in order. And under those circumstances, some strange and distorted control features are installed in ourselves, for ourselves, and for others outside of self because of this imbalance. And people with issues of control are usually centered just in the head, in the brain. And they can spin out on any kind of thinking or put anything into motion which their off-balance center is regarding as being trying to grab it all and put it back into place again. Of course, when one is out of alignment, that's not going to happen. But this is what does happen for the out of balance thyroid chakra. Now, this chakra can also, because of this constant relationship it has with the physical at that level and at that particular place in the body, the thyroid itself can be affected. And so you can have a hyperthyroid, hypothyroid that can be affecting the actual gland itself, but not necessarily all the time. So you can't go always by that. So as I said, there can be a hypothyroid. That means the opposite reaction can take place within an individual when they don't have enough sense of themselves, and they can be so weak in this center that they give their control up to others. So it's still the imbalance, except it's in a different direction. Now, the higher aspects of self, as I was just saying, always influence the lower. This is why attention to our spiritual nature is so important. You can't just look at the physical and try to fix it when there's some kind of an imbalance there. There is something else going on. And it's not always obvious because we can't always see the direct correlation. So not just getting caught up in the physical end, but in fact, some of it, or perhaps all of the problem, can be in the, not only in the spiritual side, but you can have a problem in the physical system as well because of other reasons. That's another deep topic because those imbalances that come in from other ways, from our genetics or whatever, there is another whole higher reason for that to be there. But I don't want to cover that here. But there is a relationship and a flow, and it must be taken into account for regaining or even sustaining good health. Now, in this reflection, that is my physical embodiment, I have faith in the supreme guidance of my soul for my balance, my needs, and my opportunities. So true faith in our God center will bring, and the love of God that goes with that, the love and sustaining love of God, and knowing that so will have us make appropriate self-control regulations. So then rather than controlling others, which is often a feature of the imbalanced thyroid person, there is a flow established through the understanding of love, so that the person is now taking personal control of themselves and their own and regulate themselves. And then seeing that they have enough love for self and they're out to others through the love that we have to establish in us to balance that thyroid chakra. In the hope affirmation, there is acknowledgement of faith in God and the longing for the God presence within to manifest, to show itself. Michelle taught that hope is related to the adrenal chakra system. In her understanding, the adrenals are relating us to our past. And as we have seen with faith, hope is the higher aspect relating to our spiritual self. The lower dimensional physical form, it is expressed in the adrenal gland and the adrenal system to which these glands are involved. Looking at the fact when imbalance is present, in this case, the individual can have doubt, which leads to loss of hope and even go on to hopelessness. But if you really look at the affirmation, faith is involved, and even in what appears to be a hopeless situation, there exists somewhere, even in its minuscule form, some faith. The individual with the adrenal chakra imbalance will be too focused on the past and the problems of the past, and may have tendencies to seek to escape situations. While they tend to be oversensitive to their environment, they will often have innate psychic abilities. So there is that, you have both sides of that. This part will only be seen if the individual can come, that the psychic part will only be seen if the person can come into balance with their faith and exhibit the hope that all of this can be then revealed. Unfortunately, the truly hopeless individual who wants to leave this world obviously is because of that tiny fleck of faith cannot be found. And this leads us to the third system, as I referred to in the physical before, as the pancreas. And the pancreas chakra is related to the last of the three major qualities, and that is charity. And the affirmation says, in understanding faith and knowing hope, I pledge my actions, my desires, and my thoughts to the performances of myself here on earth to honor, love, and enlighten all that is a reflection of the divine outside myself. And as I was reflecting on the fact that spirit, when channeled through Michelle, did not use the term love, but rather that of charity. And I also further reflected that spirit uses words very carefully because there is a certain energy connected with every word, as well as the subtleties of meaning. And it's so this is my personal interpretation, is that charity is a word implying a giving. There is a movement from one to go outside of self. And that is seen in this affirmation. But it's only by holding true love and then giving it is it really effective and beneficial in showing our perfection back to God, to our Creator. And very often it seems to me that the word love is often misunderstood, and much more so than the word charity is. Love is often not even recognized as love because it comes from an individual who is constructed or wired very differently than others. And it needs to be really recognized that we are all uniquely ourselves and express ourselves according to the pattern established in us by God from the beginning of our life in this existence. Personality does play into the expression of who we are. And here I want to remember that personality dynamics are important for expression in this lifetime. It was carefully designed by your Creator so that you would be who you are today in personality. You see, embedded in the personality are the strengths and weaknesses which are being required by your very own spirit to relate to this world. The weaknesses are from your past unresolved issues. But you are given strengths which are the counterbalance for those very weaknesses. It is understood that you are not given more than you can actually handle because of this arrangement. So it is very, very important to love who you are. So going on, charity or love pertains to our spiritual nature. This is where it comes from. This element relates to the physical form in the pancreas. As it was a component of the solar plexus chakra. While that is true, the balance actually for the pancreas is faith. They talk about faith, and you talk about love, and you talk about hope. They're all intertwined. So in the people with the more inclined to have pancreas imbalance in that chakra often have a lack of self-esteem or self-worth, and are often prone to feelings of guilt. There are also tendencies for overindulgence in any form, especially food or alcohol or other substances. That's the out of balance one. So interesting to note that on the spiritual plane, because of the faith being involved, we would have to acknowledge then that we are, again, going back to faith, the product of God's design. But in the physical, from the past, most people in this position of being predominantly from that chakra, wired for that chakra expression, really have to pay attention to personal maintenance of their physical form, to diet, exercise, and other things that will build the physical form. Because, as Michelle often said, many of the lifetimes that we are now coming to meet in this lifetime, because of being the pancreatic type of person, are because of these overindulgences or over use of the physical form that was not good for it and destroyed itself in the past. So we're being asked to do something very regulated and to bring everything back in form. And it's very doable today, because the world is full of advice on how to bring the physical into balance. But the lack of self-esteem that goes with this in this chakra, imbalanced chakra, is I think, a scourge on humanity. This insecurity and lack of confidence leads many into allowing others to direct or control them, which in turn creates an unhealthy life on so many levels. So for this reason, faith is a saving grace here. And of course, it goes way beyond that. First, one must understand who one is in relationship to their own existence. Who are you and why were you born are questions that must be asked and answered by each incarnating soul on the planet, especially today. There is a need for us to accelerate our spiritual growth, to match that with a physical response in going into this higher dimensional thinking and behaviors. So it's even more important than ever. And for some, this comes a bit easier than for others. So if the personality is more in this imbalanced pancreas, which we're talking about, then I think it's a journey of courage and finding conviction in life. And it's also important for the individuals to know who they can trust for advice, since they would tend to allow themselves to not believe enough in their own judgment. Faith and trust are to be developed first as faith and trust in God, the creator of the person's own existence. This is only found within self. Perfect faith, which is confidence in God, will allow the individual to see that they can then have confidence in self and move on in life, exhibit themselves as they need to be. Remember that all love and honor first goes to God, which in turn then has to be given to self, because we were created by God and we're in that alignment. And then it can be extended out to others. Many of us have a tendency to want to, quote unquote, fix someone else, when in fact, the very fix that is required in the other person usually is in self, that needs to be done first. And once that's done, believe it or not, the other person seems to be automatically okay. And wonder of wonders, that's the way life works, because everything is within self. I've been told many times by Michelle that you can't see the imbalance outside of self unless there's some aspect of it in self, or something that you have recently solved and you still notice that it exists outside. But it can be that, or just something that you need to go take a look at. Should be very familiar with it when you see it. A secured pancreas, grounded in physical balance, taking care of its own needs with a faith in self, because of the overriding faith in one's creator, is an invincible person. It secures everything that the choices of the thyroid make, if these are made in love and expressed in love. Our own innate talents given to us from our own past accomplishments will shine then and bring out the best in self and everyone around us. But it can be difficult sometimes to see yourself as you really need to be seen. It's, we have our blind spots, and we are trying very diligently and very sincerely in life to move and to do what we believe is the right thing. This checking back and seeing how we're doing is very important. And for those who need or are going to be seeking more understanding of their own makeup and how they're designed by spirit to be acting in the world, will find a forthcoming program developed by Reverend Michelle Lusan. It will be very informative and very helpful. The program is known as Creative Wellness. It is an in-depth look at the material that we just covered, only in, it will be more orderly in its format. You will be very understandable, and you will see your place in it. That's a very lovely part of it. And so you need to please look for it in the coming months. And I think it's important today to end with the understanding of something that Michelle brought out in many, many years ago. The imbalance between the thyroid chakra and the pancreas chakra has created every single problem in the world. And that's not, it really is a truth, because those who are out of balance in the center of the will have taken to themselves control of others, have dominated the spirits and the natural expression of multitudes through time. This is a violation of the law of God and always results in negativities and destructive behaviors to be produced out of it. We always have big examples in the world to point to. However, the domination can only take place when people do not understand who they truly are and are insecure within themselves and will allow to be followed. They'll follow because of their own fears and self-imposed guilts even. The creative expression of their own God within is suppressed with detrimental results. So true love is not present in one, and then the other, not true faith isn't involved. So when we bring these worldwide problems, it's the same problem that's going on. The imbalance between the thyroid and the pancreas is the thing that Michelle said that has pulled down civilizations. It is that strong in the world body. So seeking to make that balance within ourselves is so critical. So there are many issues out in the world that we can take a look at, and these will be pointed out to you in the class when we see how that works. But the world outside should be a reflection that we see. It should be a reflection of how we are. We'll all put together within ourselves. And that's so important that then we continue to understand more and more about faith, about hope, and about charity, and exhibiting those qualities and those spiritual dimensions. And they will solve more problems in ourselves. And once they can get out into the world in the kind of form, that will be also helping to solve the world's problems. So I believe faith, hope, and charity are really one because of the way they function. It's the way that God functions. You know, you have the Trinity, the divine Trinity, three aspects of God. They're all together. You can't separate them out. It's all interrelated, all interactive. So they're really universal laws when you take a look at them correctly, because when the perfect alignment with them will present yourself with the perfect life, and as it should be for your personality and your challenges that you have been given, they can be overcome more easily and life will flow better. So I think it's important that people learn to go into their inner world and find more of the God self within them. And every Saturday morning, we do have an hour of intuitive development, and it's called Accessing Your Inner World. And it's open to anyone who is sincerely interested. So you can contact Pastor at CCWH.com for an invitation. If you forget that, you can go into the website and you can find our other site that you can go to. It's info@ccwh.com, and be happy to see you there and help you with your own inner balance from your inner world. I also would like to finish with another thought that I believe that every person on the planet could benefit from a recitation of the faith, hope, and charity affirmations as they were channeled through Michelle Luson these many, many years ago. They will bring the balance, complete balance to your life. And by repeating them as often as you can, at least once a day, it will gradually bring to you the understanding of these faith, hope, and charity actions to take in your life and bring you in alignment with your Creator. So you can find them on our website, and we'll encourage you to share them. Thank you. And now we'll have a meditation.
Hello and welcome. My name is Kelly Wilk, and today we'll be doing a meditation with the archangels. We'll begin by taking deep breaths in and out, relaxing ourselves mind, and body and spirit. Throughout this meditation, we'll be taking deep breaths in and out, relaxed, easy, and free-flowing. From this place of relaxation, we bring our awareness to our connection to the earth, how it grounds us and stabilizes us. We feel the great positive magnet of Mother Earth drawing out any impurities, any negativity, any heaviness or darkness, pulling it away from ourselves, away from our physical selves, our mental selves, all of our subtle selves, and into the earth where it can be safely transmuted. We are also aware of our connection to the heavens, to the sky, to the light. We feel a powerful, almost electric connection to that light. We become aware of it, pulling us ever upward, towards light, towards grace, towards peace and contentment. We feel firmly anchored between these two poles of grounding and stability, of expansion and light. We safely encompass ourselves with some of this extra white light, creating very safe, very strong shield all around ourselves. We know now that we are grounded, we are connected, we are protected. We are safe here in sacred space, able to do good spiritual work on many levels, whether it be healing, meditation, intuition, or anything else. For now, for today, we welcome the presence of the great angels. We picture ourselves in our sacred space, and we welcome the angelic presences of the many beings of light that are not only always around us, but that want to connect to us, to guide and help us. First, with great humility, we picture the awesome presence of the archangel known as Michael. We know that his presence is before us. We may only get a feeling, or we may see him very clearly. Perhaps we are only aware of a rustle of wings, or a powerful energy field, or a flash of blue light. But we know if we honestly call on his name and for his help, he can come, and he will. Right now, we ask Michael to be with us, to aid us in clearing any energies that are no longer beneficial for us. These may be forces working against us internally, externally, or very possibly both. We ask that he take his great sword of light and of truth and help us to cut any cords of darkness or attachment, regret or guilt, any other negative cords that are binding us, that are restricting our movements upwards and forwards. We feel the power of his great sword. It slices through the darkness, and we feel ourselves slowly and surely being freed. We allow any bonds, any cords to fall away down to the earth where they are dissolved and absorbed. At times, this archangel might cut a cord, and it may immediately begin to grow back. But please know that you can let it dissolve. You will be safe. You can be cleared in safety, in light, and for your higher good. Once this process is complete, we feel the gentle blue of Michael's light shining on us. We may feel a sensation of being enlightened, being made more light. We may feel a sensation of having wings wrapped around us. Or we may feel a different feeling entirely. Perhaps we see or hear or smell something that lets us know the process is completing, that we are now soaking in the light of this powerful angel, that we are being balanced and restored. We give eternal thanks to this great being for his aid. And as he leaves, we usher in the presence of another great being of light, that of Gabriel, the famous messenger angel. Gabriel comes closer and closer to us. Again, we may simply feel a presence. We may hear sounds like the whoosh of air or a heavenly trumpet. We may feel or see something. We give thanks to this great being of light for being here with us. Gabriel does indeed arrive with his trumpet, and he is able to attune us to the sounds of the divine, to messages directly from Spirit. We feel him taking his great trumpet of heavenly light and blowing a beautiful sound. It is clearing us, clearing our ears, clearing our minds, clearing all of our fields. So that we are able to better hear what is true, what is God-given, what is a message from the light. With his divine assistance, we are able to truly, truly understand if something we hear is in fact truth and right for us to hear and absorb now, or if it is somehow discordant and not aligned with the light, not being given for our highest and greatest good. And we may release those messages, release them with a blessing, and send them away from yourself. Instead, we are aware of the continued clearing of our ear chakras, of our minds, of our entire selves, as the sound of the trumpet goes on, fully clearing us, fully opening us to messages only from the divine, only for our own greater good, only for the greater good of all those around us. When this process feels complete, we may feel wrapped up in a silvery or golden or simply white light. We may feel ourselves wrapped up in some heavenly music or in angel wings, and we'll wait here for a moment for any specific sign or message that we are able to receive from Gabriel and from the light. Giving thanks to this great being, we hear or see or feel him depart and are aware now of another great celestial being coming forward to us, to work with us now. This great being of light is Raphael, the Archangel of Healing. He comes forth in a brilliant green. We may feel certain sensations when he approaches. We may hear or see something particular, but we are aware that this great being is coming forward to do some work with us now. In great humility and with great gratitude, we welcome the Archangel Raphael. This angel has a great wand, a great caduceus, a healing wand with the very symbol of healing on the end, and he directs it now towards each and every one of us. Using the powerful healing of God, he pours forth green light on each of us, sending us healing, and most of all, sending us God's love. We open ourselves to this healing, and we may also at this time be given guidance on how best to affect our own healing, physical or otherwise, or perhaps how best to aid another close to us in healing. We open ourselves to these messages now. Once we feel this healing has been complete, we give thanks to Raphael. We are aware of his great presence leaving us, and we welcome the fourth and final archangel we will be working with. The great traveler Uriel comes forth. We are aware of his heavenly presence. We feel his gentle energies. We may see a particular color or notice a certain sound or scent that alerts us to his presence. but we know he is here now. This great angel helps us focus our light in the way that is most helpful for us to move forward with our own divine plan now. You see, he holds up a great bow and arrow. As he holds it up, he notches the arrow. He looks at a target before us. He is showing us the way. He is showing us what our next focus should be. He is guiding us on what steps to take next so that we can achieve our next divine goal, so that we can hit the mark. Allow him to guide you, to offer you some insight, some focus on what the best next steps would be. Once you feel this message has been delivered, we give thanks. We give thanks to the mighty being that is Uriel. We give thanks to the archangels and the many other beings in the angelic realm that are always helping us, that are always helping all of Earth. We give thanks to them, and we rest in our place of peace, in our place of light, in our place of healing and meditation. Thank you.
Well, I hope you found our website at CCWH.com. And when you're there, you'll find the drop-down menu labeled Get Involved. And that's the place where you can make a contribution if you care to, for which we would be so grateful. And you can find those affirmations there and you can copy them. And I think you would enjoy and get great benefit from them. And when you can, go to our Facebook page and like us on Facebook. Thank you so much for being here.